What's up, guys? It's Mackenzie here, and I'm really sloppy today. And we're just gonna pretend like I'm not self-quarantined in my house in this crazy time, and that this is a topic that is a touchy topic because everyone has their own journey and their own story and their own things that have worked for them. And so I just want to start this video out with, I want to share my personal journey and what has worked for me. So it's about depression and anxiety, something a lot of us struggle with, and we should just come together and connect with our stories. There's no sense of going in the comments below and arguing about what I said that was right or wrong. Once again, this is my journey. So I come from a very level-headed and put together family, and I also feel like since they're so level-headed and put together that sometimes they don't really talk about their problems. They're just so mature. Like, I just came out of nowhere and I just am an emotional wreck sometimes, I feel like. Since I was little, I had a hard time controlling my emotions. And I say this all the time that cheerleading saved my life. And I wasn't a rah-rah cheerleader at your football games. I was hardcore. Like, I say this all the time. My mom at the age 4 was like, if you're gonna do this, you're gonna do it because it's a lot of money. Told me to teach myself a back handspring at the age 4. I'm a cheer coach, I'm a tumbling coach, and looking back, that's a lot. And so I did, and I lived in the gym. I went to school, went to the gym, went to school, went to the gym. And in the gym was my high. So I have never in my life of dealing with bad things have turned to drugs or alcohol. And I really truly think that cheer and fitness kept me away from that from a very young age. It was a high for me to be thrown up in the air. I was a flyer. It was a high for me to give it all I got, and I did. It was like I took my anger out on the mat, and no one knew I was angry or dealing with any kind of emotional state. But I do know I received more spankings than any of my other 3 siblings put together in a month. My mom always told me, you are my most driven kid. I always knew you would go very far because you're very stubborn. Once you get your mind to something, you make it happen, and people will laugh at you and you'll say, watch me, and you'll make it happen. And I've definitely proven that with my business and just with life in general. I also, that had a negative effect on me as it does a positive effect. There was something that happened to me in my childhood that I knew didn't happen to any of my siblings, and I kind of had to carry that weight on my shoulders. And I actually did not tell my parents until 1 month before my mom passed away. I knew I couldn't, I had to. And when I told her, it was like chains were breaking off of me. But I think that is when it started. And I also felt like, my story was, and I'm not blaming anyone, but it was always Mackenzie came out of the womb screaming and she hasn't stopped. Mackenzie came out of the womb just a mess, and she's still a mess. It was kind of like I felt like people talked about me like I didn't have hope, and my siblings were just, like I said, so level-headed, so put together, and they all did life so different than me. They were very easy to raise. They never got in trouble. And so a lot of people in my hometown even call me the black sheep, when I'm really not a bad person. But I was definitely hard to raise, and my mom fought the good fight in raising me, but I always felt like I had to prove something, and then carrying that weight that I couldn't tell my parents, and maybe just feeling ashamed about what happened. It was hard, and I definitely think that was a start. And sometimes they even say we will be angry later on in life, and we have no clue that it stemmed from our childhood. But I've definitely been set free and delivered from the pain of that. I had to open it up later on in life because I had no clue that has caused stuff. But that's like a really good thing to do if you are someone who struggles with this, is to get out a journal and open up deep stuff. Like, what could have happened to me me? What could have hurt me? And it's just little stuff. Like for me, I never felt like my parents saw me as good as my siblings. I also was very ADHD, ADD. That's why I can't sit still and do stuff. And that's why I learned to. My mom said, listen, sister, you have these things, turn them into something positive. And I knew I love to move. I knew I have a lot of energy, and I turned it into a business. I'm doing cardio all day, every day. And I turned it into something positive. So my mom had 4 kids and adopted a grown man. He lived with Down syndrome, and that was my brother. He was adopted before I was even born. I think me and my brother weren't born yet, and my sisters were little, so we just knew him. Like, I was in the 3rd grade before I realized, oh wait, he did not come out of my mom's womb. Like, I just saw him as my brother. We were close. We fought all the time, like brother and sister. And he passed away when I was in the 6th grade. And that was the same year that I got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And that was when I really started getting angry. I hit puberty. That was the year I started. I was in middle school, thought I was so cool. Oh my gosh, the anger, the depression, the anxiety. But once again, my mom kept me in the gym. So I was in the gym, and that's what I took it out on. I still to this day haven't touched drugs, didn't turn to alcohol, because I had the gym, I had cheering, and I took it all out. And that's probably why I was one of the best tumblers. I don't know, because I didn't think. I never had a mental block. All my friends, if you are a cheerleader, most cheerleaders have discovered a mental block. That is something I have never had. I just always went for it because I didn't care. I just spent all my energy just doing my thing, shining. It was like when I walked out, I swear I was born to cheer. When I walked out on a mat and at a competition and saw thousands of people in the stands, that was my drug. That was my way of just feeling important. And so moving on to 16, I met Josh, and we got pregnant very, very soon after meeting each other. And I was mad at myself. I also felt like that not only had I let my family down my entire life because I wasn't like them, but I felt like now this is the cherry on top. My family has all saved themselves for their spouses, and I am 16 and pregnant. And then it got on TV, and I just felt like I have failed my family. And then me and Josh just weren't working out. Like, it wasn't what I had in mind. I'm like, I met this guy 2 months ago. We're pregnant. Surely he's gonna buckle down, do everything right, and love me. I had this picture in my head. Maybe something's gonna go right. It'll be a perfect family. And it wasn't. That was sad. And when we started seeing other people, when Gannon was a baby, I just saw, my family's never seen divorce. They've never seen split up families. And that put a lot of pressure on me because I really wanted it to work, and it just wasn't working. And my depression and my anxiety was so high. I would cry myself to sleep. I would do stupid stuff. I started going to parties with friends. And when I got pregnant, I had to be pulled from competitive cheer. And then I was a mom. I couldn't do competitive cheer as a mom. And then I was really angry. And so my mom, who just cared, like, oh, I hate what I put that woman through, took me to the doctor. And I was like, okay. I was like super skinny, unhealthy, super malnourished. And we decided it was time to go see a doctor. So we went and saw a doctor. And at this time, I wasn't like hardcore working out. I didn't have a business. I was just doing school cheer. That was all that I was doing. And then raising a kid on my own, a baby, and felt like I had the weight of the world on my shoulder, being filmed for a TV show, embarrassing myself on TV. It was a lot to take on as a 16-year-old. But I had never said the word I'm depressed and I struggle with anxiety. I didn't know what anxiety was. I didn't want to say I was depressed because to me it sounded like I'm not cool. And at that time in life, I was doing my best to be cool. Like, I was on TV. I wanted a social media following. It wasn't cool to come out and say I'm depressed. So my mom took me to a doctor and they were like, you are severely depressed. We are putting you on medicine. And my mom's like, I hope that this helps her because something's got to happen. A change has got to happen. She's a mess. And I got on the medicine. And then I became very suicidal. I put on 30 pounds very fast. And that to me, because I'd always cared about my body, I was a flyer and I started seeing cellulite. And so then I started starving myself and started running like crazy. And I was gaining as I was doing this. So it was like nothing was making me lose weight. My insulin stopped working. So my blood sugar was always high. It was really frustrating. Me and my mom were butting heads like ever before. Josh and I would just back and forth, and I'm trying to raise this baby and trying to do all this, and I was more depressed than I had ever been. And it got so bad where I took my car. My son was not with me. I got in my car and I drove as fast as I could and wrecked into a ditch on a dirt road as fast as I can. Some way, somehow, still to this day, I'm like, some way, somehow, a car pulls behind me and I'm like, okay, I'm in a ditch, I'm alive. I don't know if my car is still going to be working. My mom is going to just be livid. And the car was Josh. I'm like, oh my gosh. So he helps me out and he starts seeing that it's a real issue. And I told my mom, I'm getting off this medicine. It wasn't the answer, and it was kind of devastating because she thought it was going to be a breakthrough. I thought it was going to be a breakthrough. I'm just kind of scared of medicine for the rest of my life. And so that was my story with depression medicine. I got out of it. I got married right out of high school. And then we had my daughter. Now, when we got pregnant with my daughter, we got pregnant like the night we got married, I swear. And it just happened really fast, and everything had already happened. Like, me and Josh never really had an opportunity to fall in love. We meet, we get pregnant right away. We get married, we get pregnant right away. So we just did a little thing. We did things backwards, and later on in life, it caught up to us that we never had a chance to even get to know each other or love each other or know if we loved each other. And so that brought on a lot of depression too. When I got pregnant with Jaxie, I was cheering in college. Now, since I was a little girl and taught myself that back handspring at the age 5, I knew I was going to be a college cheerleader. It was my plan in my head, but our plans are not God's. And that's not where he led me. I tried out, I made it, it was super fun. I already knew I was gonna get in a lot of trouble with the cheerleaders. Like college cheerleaders, at cheer camp, they were talking about like stuff they did, and I was excited. And I really think God was just trying to protect me from that because he knew my marriage was not gonna last. And I was super upset. Like, it was like all my dreams and when I was a little girl, all went out the window, and I knew I could cheer with one kid, but there's no way to go cheer in college with 2 kids. It just wouldn't be the right thing to do as a mom. Going to college and getting a degree, yes. And then I broke my foot. And so here I am, 7 months pregnant, can't get across campus, and I quit college and still to this day have not went back. What I was going for, I'm definitely living that life now and doing great. When I had her, I experienced a little bit of postpartum, but I crawled my way out of that. And I was just like, you know what? I have 2 beautiful kids. I have a husband. Let's just make it work, and I'm gonna do what I can. So I opened a business at home, crocheting, and I definitely was not happy crocheting. And that's a big thing, is if you have a job where that's your everyday life, that is your income. And I know people see it as whatever makes money, but you need to make sure that you love your environment, that you love what you're doing. And I definitely didn't love it. I felt hopeless because Josh was working and I was bringing in what I could with crocheting, and I just was trying to find my purpose. And then I went to the salon because I had went to cosmetology school, and we were like not even making ends meet. We were on food stamps. We were on every kind of help we could, and still we were just so poor. I crawled my way out of a lot, but it's just not finding my purpose. I couldn't cheer anymore. Where am I? And then I started doing NPC modeling and started doing personal training. And my name started getting back out there. And remind you, when Jaxie was born was when I got the call from MTV saying, we're done with you. We don't want to share your story anymore. So it was kind of like, we're going to grab you. We're going to film your life. People are going to see your life. And I thought this was the beginning, and it was kind of a bad ending. Me and Josh had gotten better because it was a break season. And then they're like, we're done with you. It was just really, really sad. I'm like, this is not the life I want to live. Living off of food stamps, I'm poor, I'm broke, I'm not living my purpose. So we moved to a college for Josh, for him to go to college and make better money. And I was like, I gotta bring in income while you go to college so that when you graduate, you can take care of us and, you know, like you help each other out in marriage. I didn't mind that. So I opened an online personal training business, and while he was there, I was bringing in an income enough for us to pay the bills. And I was training for NPC competitions. Now that was when I was like, if I need MTV to get my name out there, I am nobody. So that was when my following, actually not from the show, but from that started just picking up. Like I started doing fitness modeling, I started doing fitness shows, people started wanting me on. I was having to turn a lot of people away in personal training. And then I was starting to get like, people reach out to me to want to come model for them. I had some things lined up, and I don't want to really bring you guys into my personal business, but not only did depression medication make my blood sugars whack, I'm a type 1 diabetic, but birth control, oh my gosh, I've tried every birth control under the moon and sun, and it was a disaster. Like, I am so scared to mess with anything that's unnatural because I really care about my diabetes, and birth control was horrible. I was like, I'm crawling out of this dark hole. I'm doing good. He's in college. He's gonna make money. I'm gonna be a fitness model. All these things were good. And so then I'm going, and remind you, I run an online personal training business. So I'm on the Skype in the other room with the client, and Josh is standing right here, and his eyes are this big, and I just knew something was wrong, and he goes, "You're pregnant." And I'm like, "No, I'm not." And here the person on the other side of the thing is, I'm her personal trainer, like, "What?" And he said, "Yeah, you're pregnant." And I was. Apparently I didn't let it set long enough. I pulled it out of the trash. I don't know why he went and pulled it out of the trash. It's the weirdest thing, but he did, and I was pregnant. We make it to the end, and there's a heart problem, and we have the baby. It had been 8 hours. I had not seen my son. I had not held him, and I couldn't walk. I'm paralyzed. So I told the nurse, I said, "You better tell me right now if my son's dead or alive." And she was like, "Let me just roll you." And she rolled me down there. She could not tell me. She rolled me down there, and Josh was just standing over this 10-pound, 1-ounce baby that had just came out of me 8 hours ago, all tubed up, tubes in his heart, his nose, I mean, I've never seen so many tubes on a baby, and he was just bawling and crying. And I'm like, what is going on? At this point, I didn't have anything that was going on. So long story short, we have a whole NICU story. Josh and I lived in the Ronald McDonald house for a month with him, going back and forth. And so I got my tubes tied when Bronx was 3 months old, and I'm a really good breastfeeding mom. I think however you want to feed your baby sister, you feed that baby. But for me, it was a good bonding experience. I like to breastfeed. And I breastfed Jaxie for a long time. She didn't even have a bottle. I didn't even pump with her for 6 months. It was just baby boo, baby boo. And I really wanted that because I knew this was my last one. And the day I got my tubes tied, I dried up the next morning. Within 24 hours, I dried up. I sat on the pump for 3 hours bawling. Not a drip came out. I would even let him like feed and feed, hoping that his saliva or something would just bring it in. And that was really hard on me. And then things just spiraled out of control from there. I don't remember the first year of Bronx's life. I pushed Josh away. He was upset at how I acted through the pregnancy. He just didn't like that I wasn't excited, but it was more of, we aren't stable. We aren't stable to take care of 3 kids. We are living off of your income. And for him, he was fine with settling for that. And for me, I want the kids to have above and beyond. Looking back, I was wrong. But I was so depressed, and I was so depressed, I thought I deserved better than Josh. And I talked to another man for a long time, and Josh found out, and it put a big damper on our marriage, and it was just really hard. And one day I just had to write down what made me happy. Like, I'm like, this depression is going to end my life because it's so bad. And so I wrote down what made me happy, and the biggest thing was fitness and health. Fitness and health, and helping others do the same. Because I was, with doing the shows and being a type 1 diabetic and the family I'm around, I was very educated on it. It's definitely something, it's definitely where my heart was. And I decided to open a business. And I had no money in the bank account. Josh had left. He was super upset with me, and he had taken the kids. I lost the kids because he was able to prove I was super depressed. And that is how the business of Bodybymac was opened. I guess I had to hit rock bottom because it was definitely rock bottom. But sometimes depression and anxiety, sometimes you sit and wonder why you're feeling that way. So I got on anxiety medicine because it was just another thing that people were telling me, you have a chemical imbalance, you need medicine. And once again, this did not have the same effect. And I know some people, actually, this was my 4th medicine that did not work throughout the years. This one made me a walking zombie. I didn't care who you are, didn't care what your name was. I had no heart. I had no motivation. I didn't work out. I didn't eat. I slept and slept and slept, and it would knock me, it made me to where I was not functional enough to have a job or kids. I would fall asleep and sleep until 5 o'clock the next day. Like, it was absolutely insane. And I'm like, I can't do this. Yeah, I'm not crying. I'm not having a raced heart, and I'm not depressed, but I've got to figure this out without medicine. Once again, this is my own experience. Medicine has helped a lot of people. But for me, I was feeling like all this medicine was doing was taking me out of the world so the world didn't have to deal with me. That is just a personal opinion. Some people on medicine, they are a delightful daisy to be around versus what they were. Me, I was literally a zombie. I was a numb walking zombie, and just no one even knew I existed. And so I quit the medicine, and I started really digging deep into, why do I feel this way? How did it get to this? And how can I change this? And I opened the business, and Josh saw his happy wife back, and he came back and forgave me. And now it is a situation where I just don't feel that way. It's definitely things that trigger it. But I have struggled with anxiety and depression a lot. For me right now, my mom got sick. A year later, me and Josh were doing good. We had a house, we had money, we had all the things that we had wanted. And my mom got sick, and it flipped my world upside down, and I started feeling all that stuff come on, and the marital problems started coming back. I started pushing Josh away. Josh started making bad decisions, and we started just trying to be away from each other as much as we can. Now, we are recently trying to fix that, but during those times, I refuse to turn to drugs. I refuse to turn to medicine. I refuse to turn to things that are going to knock me out, take me out of the world, make me sleep all day, make me a walking zombie. If I felt like there was a medication out there that balanced me and made me happy and made me go out in the world, I would be taking it. And that's what I want to say to you when it comes to medicine. But if medicine does to you what it does to me, it was going to kill me, because it was making my disease that I already live with really hard to live with. So I had to figure it out without medicine. Maybe there's a medicine out there that I need, but for right now, I don't want to touch medicine. Last year was the hardest year of my life with my marriage and my mom. And many of you know, I lost my mom. And I'm very thankful for fitness and health, because when I'm not eating right, I don't feel right. I feel sloppy, and when I feel sloppy, I act sloppy. And sloppiness is letting your depression get the best of you. Like, it's letting it spiral out of control. It's not even recognizing it. When you are, and I cannot stress this enough, if you are trying to do this without medicine or with medicine, you need to be eating healthy, and you need to be drinking your gallon of water a day. If you're living off of pop, you're gonna get chemically imbalanced. You're going to get imbalanced some way. Hormonally, stress. So that is one easy fix that I want to challenge you guys if you are struggling with this. And some people say that, some people blame their depression on how they eat, but you do have full control over what you grab and what you stick in your mouth. Is it hard? Yes, but start somewhere. Get a journal and make goals. That's an easy fix. Another fix is journaling. That has really helped me because instead of not talking about all this stuff that a lot is hard to say on this video, I opened a journal and I opened really deep wounds, starting with my childhood. I told Josh things that have hurt me since a long time ago, and it was really therapeutic. Journaling your thoughts and getting to the core of stress. If you're stressed, you're going to be imbalanced and your body is going to go wonky. But everyone is going to have to find something that gets their mind off of things. For me, that's physical activity. And yes, I love fitness. Yes, I run a fitness business. Get out and take a breath of fresh air. If you are ever laying down and you feel so low and like you just can't handle the pain, because that's what I've been going through lately, I had to make some choices. Like, I had to turn to God and I was trying to fight a fight that wasn't mine, and that was my depression. And I was like, God, my depression is now in your hands. I need your help. And some of you may not be believers, and that's okay. But that's a huge thing that has helped me. But if you're just laying down and feel like you just can't breathe and can't, get up and go for a fresh walk. I'm not saying that you really don't have it or it's in your mind. I'm saying you need to do stuff that is going to help you. And that is me caring for you, because I know how freaking hard that this is. And learn to turn your unhealthy thoughts to healthy thoughts, like the bad situations. Like a bad situation for me right now is I lost my mom, and you're thinking, how can you turn that into a good situation? There's no good way of looking at that. And yeah, there is, because I had a good mom. A good mom raised me, and I got 25 good years with her. So start seeing things in a different light. There is ways that you can, and once again, this is a very touchy topic, you cannot just say, I don't have depression, I don't have anxiety, and it goes away. But there are things you can do to help, and there are things that you can wake up and say, I claim it, I'm gonna have a good day, and you can do everything in your might to have a good day, because I have literally watched people talk their brains into an anxiety attack. Like, oh my gosh, this gives me anxiety, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have an anxiety attack, oh my gosh, I have anxiety, and next thing you know, they are really having an anxiety attack. You have to learn to think positive. Like, think positive. In another situation is, I won't be able to make rent at the end of this month, or I'm gonna figure out how to make rent at the end of this month. Like, there is so many ways you can look at one situation. So try to see the best in everything. Go out for a fresh walk. When you feel down, do a Bodybymac workout. Bodybymac.net. Think of, one thing I do is write everything you're blessed about. When I write the stuff I'm blessed about, and then when I think about things that other people are going through, I'm like, wow. No matter what you are going through, maybe it's way better than me, maybe it's way worse than me, but you cannot say no one on this earth is going through worse. But here on earth, there's always someone going through worse, and they would love to be in your shoes. And that is also something that I'm like, wow, God gave me one life, and it was not to sit on earth and live with depression and anxiety. So I'm gonna do something to do my best about it. And that was a slap in the face from God one day. Like, hey, you have a purpose, and it's not to let your depression and anxiety get the best of you. And that word purpose is my last key point here, is what makes you happy? What is your purpose? For me, it's Bodybymac. It is my kids. It's my family. I'm a cheer coach now. Like, I have people looking up to me, and that gives me a purpose. Everyone has a purpose. Write down your purpose, and maybe it's something that you're not living for yet. Like, my depression has gotten so much better since I have opened the business of Bodybymac, because it's exactly where I belong. It's not something I tried out. Find your purpose, and I want to give you hope that it's going to be okay. I've been to the point I was like, I can't deal with this pain. It is so bad. My heart is racing so bad. I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't eating. I wanted to die. I did not see any purpose. Now, I wasn't dangerous. I wasn't going to do anything to hurt myself. And that is something that is hard to explain. I just don't see a purpose of living. Like, I don't want to, but it's not like I'm going to do anything. I knew I wasn't going to do anything, but I really, really pray for everyone out there who struggles with this, because it's not easy. And whatever you're going through, I pray that you can see some kind of light in it. And I hope that, believer or non-believer, I truly believe God put you on this earth for a huge purpose, and there is something that you can find. But if you are living fit, if you are doing physical activity every day and eating healthy and drinking your gallon of water, it's going to be a huge help. I did a lot of stuff, like went and got blood work done, went and saw therapists, went and saw doctors. I've definitely taken steps. So you matter, you're important. Take steps to become the best self, because we're only given one life. It's super short. And I hope that I inspired at least one person to take better control of your depression and anxiety, because honey, you weren't born to let it take over. And we got this. It's a community that we can all go through together. I would love to hear your story in the comments below. And also always let me know what you guys would like me to cover next. So love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.